Yo, what's poppin', friends? Look, mate, I've got to talk about it. Big Tommy Tuchel impressed me so much already. We know this guy can speak very well, but there's a few things that he's done perfectly already in the embryonic phases of his England tenure as manager of the England national team. I'm going to get into them. Obviously, they ain't all been perfect. He's called up Jordan Henderson, which has caused a little bit of unrest with some England fans. But I tell you what, yeah, sure, England got a great 2-0 win against Albania. I'll cover that a little bit. But I do want to speak about what's really impressed me so far with Big Tommy Tuchel. And we're going to get into it here today on Football Yannick. So welcome on in, friends. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. If you look, every day I'm uploading on this channel, so why not become part of the journey? I've really cranked up subscribers recently, got a few hundred extra, because I was I picked up the channel again on 15k subs, like I'm 15.4 or 5 now, so that's superb. Thank you so much for your support. Do consider hopping on for the ride if you want my commentary on and thoughts on all things football, apart from Chelsea, of course. I have a dedicated channel for that, but I'm hoping to bring not just the football therapy Chelsea fans over. I'm hopeful you'd be interested in hearing my thoughts on other footballing stories. But indeed, bigger fan bases at large, you're all welcome here. I'm not this kind of like partisan, overly tribal Chelsea fans. Hopefully you'd be interested in getting my thoughts. So let's get into it. Thomas Tuchel. First of all, the England national team, of course, historically, we've had a couple of foreign managers. But the headlines, of course, the tabloids discussed in the case that England have got a German managing them, the old enemy, how could we, a dark day for England, and all that other turgid sewage that was on certain tabloid headlines. I really like Thomas Tuchel. Briefly and fleetingly, by all accounts, he had to leave Chelsea. I'm not going to get into it, but there's certain stories. Just basically, his time was up at Chelsea, right? So we're not going to romantic for any Chelsea fans in the comments going, "Oh, I miss him at Chelsea." It had to end, right? But fresh start at the FA. Very, very excited. A sort of world-class Galactico manager, pragmatic. He said all the right things. I mean, what's really impressed me, I'm going to get into in just a minute. But he said like loads of other right things. Let me just shut these blinds. There you go. He said loads of other impressive things, like he spoke about England in the Euros and how they looked frightened to go out of the competition, which was kind of a bold thing to say, to critique. He's obviously picked up certain positive elements of the Southgate era in terms of creating this club atmosphere, this club-like feel and atmosphere. Says all the right things, Tuchel. But also as well, like when he took this job, he knew his passport was. He said it in his first presentation, press conference, when he's like, "Yeah, I can't help having a German passport." But recently, like after this interim period of Lee Carlsey, of course, between Southgate and Tuchel, there was and it was Lee Carlsey, who I swear is he dual nationality, England and Irish, but because he represented Ireland, he didn't sing the national anthem. And oh my word, it was like a disgrace. Again, those horrible tabloidy papers making a big noise about it, about why is he not singing our national anthem? And bless him, Lee Carlsey, he is a good coach, but he wasn't the best media trained person to navigate such controversies. Let's be real here. But Tuchel he said early he doesn't know if he'll sing it. He hasn't made that decision yet. And then of course before his first game, because again, imagine these like journalists ready, like the German didn't sing the national anthem. He said, which is really intelligent and actually speaks to how smart Thomas Tuchel is. He says, "I'll sing it when I've earned the right to sing it," right? Which I love, and it's so Tuchel, yeah, because it immediately puts that on ice, throws cold water on it. Because what it essentially means is it's subjective as well. So he might say, "Right, I'll sing it when we get to the World Cup final." Do you know what I mean? Like I've made like minimum, because he's there to win the World Cup. It's a crazy job in that sense, because if you don't win it, you failed, which is wild. But by saying that, he could be like, yeah, so, shut up, and it's subjective, and when I think I've earned it, I'll sing it. And then obviously, it's not headlines for the next 18 months in German media and English media. They might criticise him for singing the national anthem. We're not criticising him for not singing the national anthem. I think it's really intelligent, which is what I'd expect of Tuchel. The way he speaks about the England national... So, firstly, I just wanted to get that out there, because I was so impressed when he said that before kickoff. I was like, yeah, you nailed it, because now you can do what you want. And now this, ongoing, perpetual story, which was just doing everyone's head in, is just gone now. You can win the World Cup, and then they might be like, have you earned it now? But he might have ridden off into the sunset by then. So that's really smart. But also, I like how he talks about... the England national team as a whole, about the principles, don't try and be Spain or his home country Germany or Italians. Play like England teams, be proud, don't try and emulate another footballing culture. And it's still good English football, even if it's direct at times. It can be very physical, high octane, which does work. Very, very much so in international tournaments, the physicality, the speed. He said, look, that's what the Premier League's all about. The Premier League is the best league in the world, yeah? Let's just take that juice, the superpower, and inject it into this international tournament. Of course, some players will be coming from different leagues, most notably, of course, the captain, Harry Kane, from the Bundesliga. But Harry Kane has long been seasoned into Premier League football, yeah? So he's smart, and he always, like I said, he does speak well. He did that very well at Chelsea. He was a very good representative / spokesman when Chelsea was sanctioned, because of course he was the manager at the time. He spoke very well on the invasion of Ukraine and everything like that. So superb, really. Early doors, of course. Even if he gets the politics, because I wanted to talk about it also, because remember, I went for a run, so my glasses are cold and my head's hot and it's steaming up again. It really does my head in that, because I can't see properly. But then I can't see without them. I need to stick my head in some ice before I film. Look, before Tuchel was hired, yeah, and while Carsley was sort of floating around, people were thinking, well, Guardiola, yeah, might leave Man City, and he's always said he wants to manage an international job. Everyone did the math. He obviously won't manage Spain because of the Catalan political stuff. It really left Brazil and England in terms of available talent and footballing cultures. Brazil because, they'd play a lot of Guardiola football. England because he knows all the England players. He's operated in the Premier League successfully for so long. So people were thinking, we might get Guardiola. We might get Guardiola, and that football's just too good to turn down. Actually, in hindsight, Guardiola is such a dogmatic... Well, he's not so dogmatic, but he's very much a philosophy manager. Needs to have so much time with the players. I wonder if that... I'm not saying he wouldn't be able to win a tournament, but I wonder how well it translates. At least with Tuchel, he's a pragmatist. He can just set up, how he needs to win. Of course, he got the better of Guardiola in a Champions League final, I seem to remember. And most notably, Guardiola's a bit mental. He comes out with some really weird stuff. I don't think he'd navigate all the FA, political stuff that shouldn't you have to be able to do, but you do. Southgate was great at it. Carsley was terrible at it. Tuchel is good at it. Despite being a German, he's really, really good at that. So actually, as more time goes on, he looks like a really appropriate appointment by the FA for England. I mean, of course, winning games will be his remit. He won his first game at Wembley yesterday, 2-0 against Albania. Of course, we've got 2 games in this international break. Albania proving to be the better of the 2 teams. And he got a very convincing 2-0 win, 12 shots, 6 on target to Albania's 3 shots, 0 on target. 75% possession throughout the whole game, so it shows they want to squeeze and play up in the opponent's half, which they did. Then they got nearly 3 times the amount of passes, incredible passing accuracy, and just a really very, very dominant display. Maybe should have been a 3-0. There was a chance where both Bellingham and Kane saw shots consecutively blocked by the keeper and the defender. Albania are a good team. They're resolute defensively. They're structurally sound. They had the young Chelsea lad, Armand Abria, come off the bench, change their dynamic a little bit up top, look pretty good. But everyone knows Albania are essentially no mugs. And Tuchel got a 2-0 win in his first England game. Of course, the nice story of Miles Lewis-Skelly in the 20th minute. Beautiful pass from superstar Jude Bellingham, who had a largely very good game. Plays through to Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's playing as a left back, but kind of a really interesting role because he got forward, but not always. He was kind of inverting into midfield / making a back 3, so it was a very Tuchel system in terms of, right, in certain phases, you're going to tuck in to a sort of half-inverted midfield, half-back free situation, which seems very peculiar for, you know, this kid, because if it was a back three, he's definitely not a centre-back, do you know what I mean? So it was but he was great. It was a lovely little nutmeg finish from the keeper. Lovely moment for the kid. Of course, that was a big story leading up to the game. Tuchel being questioned about calling up this kid. I mean, I spoke about it before, but very impressive again, the way he discussed with his coaching staff, spoke to the press saying, yeah, we've called up Miles Lewis-Skelly, but we had a sort of paternal, emotional intelligence debate. Is it, you know, the right thing to call him up? Would it be the right thing to send him to the under-21s? We need to protect him. So they're really, really like lucid psychologically to protect these players. So emotionally intelligent. But brought him in, he said he's ready. That was just what he said before kickoff. And the kid scores the first goal under Thomas Tuchel. So it was superb for the young lad. Harry Kane scores what can only be described as a beautiful goal, really, in terms of centre forward play. An amazing touch to bring the ball down sort of close to the near post. And then just waited. Obviously, it was probably like a second, 1.2 seconds in total, but it felt like an eternity for watching the defenders and movements, and just finished at the perfect time in the bottom corner. You know, Harry Kane, England's captain, world class, of course, scored loads of goals under Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich, and remains England's captain under Thomas Tuchel. So yeah, you know, again, it probably should have been 3-0 for my money, but a good start. Interesting to see some rotation. Of course, Jordan Henderson came off the bench. I wonder personally if that's just token minutes. This is my thoughts. If it's token minutes, like he's brought him in to be this intermediary lieutenant for the kids and the old guard, and feeding Tuchel the culture, and, you know, getting everyone in line. And maybe by the time the World Cup comes along, Henderson will not be in the squad. That's my hope. And then because he's playing this role, you can sort of give him these token minutes when you're 2-0 up at home to keep him involved and keep him happy. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, other than that, it was an interesting lineup. Big Dan Burn starting, had an amazing game. I gotta give him a shout out because he won absolutely everything in both boxes, of course, on corners, set pieces, bit in our own defensive third. Yeah, he's an amazing moment. Both him and Lewis Skelly are the stories. I mean, Kane scored a great goal, but Walker interestingly starting, but again, we know Tuchel loves Reece James. Reece James came on at left back just to sort of see out the game, but, you know, by the World Cup, you know, it will be Reece James at right back. I don't think he's going to go for Trent, because we just know he loves Reece James. Defensively, it was interesting to see Dan Burn and Konza, because maybe come the World Cup, it'll be neither of these guys. It could be it'll probably be Mark Gurhey, maybe, Stones, maybe a Colwill. So we'll see what happens there. Very interesting to see a double pivot of Jones and Rice. And then Foden, Bellingham, Rashford behind Kane. Foden as a right winger, really ineffective. Of course, that role belongs to Bukayo Saka. And in the absence of Bukayo Saka, I still think it will be maybe Anoni Madueke, because I think they suit the role better. We'll see what happens with Foden. I think he's just chucking him in because he knows he's an amazing player. But you know, that number 10 role is Bellingham, because, you know, as amazing, I'm a Chelsea fan, Cole Palmer's productivity can be amazing. The one thing about Jude Bellingham is he doesn't look like he'll get into a rut like Cole Palmer's in recently. Jude is just for the moments. And also he can be a passenger all game and score an overhead kick. So I think you just need to get Jude Bellingham in. I do wonder, speaking of right wingers, if Saka's just such a good right winger. I think, as much as I love Cole Palmer and think he's amazing, and I'd love to see him in the team somehow, and maybe if the formation changes and you have two inside forwards and wing backs, you fit in, you know, Cole. And then Cole Palmer actually is a better selection than Saka. But while you're playing as a conventional chalk on your boots right winger, I mean, for me as a Chelsea fan, Noni Madueke plays that role better than Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer needs to be operating in central spaces to really damage the opposition. But the talent's there, yes, and I wanted to reflect on the game, and also, equally as importantly, well, for the moment, how Tuchel looks to navigate the silly politics of being the England manager. And so far, he's looking like a good company man for the FA. Right, so let me know what you think, guys. Thank you as always for joining me. Do consider liking the video if you want to help me out. And of course, you're all welcome to subscribe. So hop on board, and I hope to see you back here soon. Peace.